Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Adventures. We're down the beach and we're bogged. No, just joking. We're not bogged really. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information over the coming videos about some MAXTRAX and MAXTRAX mounting systems. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this little lock off and release these quick release MAXTRAX mounts, get them off the roof and show you a couple of things. Now I suppose one of the important things, if you've got MAXTRAX on your roof, you're going to want to secure them. And have a look. This is only about 3 weeks old, this padlock, and have a look at all the rust and corrosion being around the beach areas in 3 weeks. So what you do with that is, you don't leave them on there all the time. You only put them on for a trip, and I suggest a good spray of inox or something before and after each trip. Now this isn't a video to tell you whether you need MAXTRAX or not, or any other brand of recovery tracks. I'll give you a bit of my experience and what I've found. So for my first sand trips, pretty much, well, when they were available, I did carry MAXTRAX, okay? But I don't own MAXTRAX or treads or anything else. I have carried MAXTRAX, I have owned them, I have owned treads. I've never used them or needed them for myself. One time I think I lent the treads to someone for a quick recovery and of course spun the wheel on it. So that's one of the lessons. Don't spin the wheels on it, I suppose is a lesson. And maybe don't lend out your MAXTRAX unless you've got someone you can trust. You spin a wheel on it, you own it, okay? Also, kaon.com.au, they do sell those little repair, you can repair, so they've spun the wheels on these here. But the key thing I want to show you here, so you got your MAXTRAX mounting. Some people, you know, they can't fit the vehicle in the garage. First thing, a Prado with a 50mm lift at the rear, with a roller tighten tray and a shovel sticking up a little bit, and the MAXTRAX on the kaon.com.au folding mount system clears 2070. Okay, so I've been in some, basically 2070 is scraping through like your excuse me, probably need a drink, like your fuel tank. When it says empty, it's not empty. Other things like that, like your speedo, when it says 100, you're not doing 100, you're doing about 96. There's a few things like that that have been set up on purpose. Most clearances, here come the camels, right? Most clearances are set up that there's about 100mm spare, right? You know, regulation, because people, they like to risk it for the biscuits. So what we're going to do, we're just going to get these MAXTRAX off the roof and quickly show you how they can, you just twist it like that to remove it. And of course on the other side as well. Right, we've got to release that, right, around here. Right, it can be a little bit stiff at times, especially when they haven't been used, and especially when the tracks have been used, as demonstrated in our other video, right? So at the moment that's been released and these can just lift off. I'm just going to lift those off the roof. Well, I could do it one by one while we're, you know, but yeah, two-hand job. So there they are, they're off the roof quite easily. Not so easy to get back on because these ones have been used once. You can see they're in good condition. They haven't had wheel spin on them. If there's any drag marks, it's probably me driving through car parks, just scraping through, as I said. But you can see they're dirty. They've been on trips, they've been on and off beaches. And like always, what I've found, when you use the other skills, you don't need MAXTRAX. And I'll have other videos telling you why you don't need them, but you may need them. If you're new at driving and you haven't got the other skills, you could find yourself stuck, and they will help you get going again, okay? So this beach here, it's a little bit soft, it's not too bad. We're gonna try and come on full pressures. We probably could have got ourselves bogged, but it's high tide at the moment, so there's not a lot of water there. We've got the camels going past. We didn't want to hold them up, but one of the main things I wanted to show you in this video is, for people that have got those clearance issues and you say, oh, if I have that mounting system, well, I can't actually show you on this vehicle because this isn't the folding mount system. This is the standard, okay? We don't have the clearance issues, okay? But on the 120, we've got a set of folding mounts. So the difference is, these are your standard, there it is, kaon.com.au, MAXTRAX mounts. So these just bolt down, you can get it to suit your roof rack. These are the genuine MAXTRAX pins. You can also get those from Kaon when you buy these. And you just bolt those down, so nice and easy, and you can lock down either 2, right, or your 4 MAXTRAX. Obviously, you know, that one won't turn when there's MAXTRAX on there, hopefully. Anyway, so you've got a clearance issue. This is the highest point, okay? So Cone have also got a folding set. So if you don't have a clearance issue and you're happy with, look, let's call it 2100. If you've got need clearance at 2100, then this mounting system will do for you. And that's really what this video was about. The standard MAXTRAX mounting system will do if you only need to clear 2100, which a lot of garages do, a lot of car parks do. But if you've got a situation of a 2050, which is a few of those, you want to get the folding ones. They're really simple and they just bang, fold down. And we'll show you those in another video. Look, I've got quite a long video talking about sand driving, and that's the sort of stuff you really want to have the patience to listen to. And you know, when I do these things, I come to beaches like this and talk to you, and sometimes the wind's blowing and it can be difficult to hear me, and I'm sorry about that, but you just have to bear with that. But then every now and then you get a bit of a view like this, okay? So maybe it's worth it. So just quickly now, what we're going to do, we're going to pop these back on the roof, and you may have seen another video. We've got two YouTube channels, 4x4 Diesel and 4x4 Adventures. You might want to subscribe, turn the bell on both, so that you get more of the genuine information, things that can help you. So what we're going to do, first problem here, obviously if these are covered in sand, salt water, dirt, mud or anything else, it's probably the last thing you want to put up on your roof. So you might want to even consider a mounting system for the back of your tyre there. Then for example, if you're going to go on a day trip where they're likely to get muddy, easy to access, and you're not putting that mud on the vehicle, but then if you want to put it in a situation, you can use it as a wind deflector as well. There's some mounts Cone have got where, you know, you can angle it up at the front there, and we showed in another video, they do fit the other way. Now, as far as, like I said, I'm not here to say you need MAXTRAX or not. If you want some MAXTRAX, you can hit up Trevor Ryan, Dirt Road 4x4. He keeps them in stock and he looks after Oz Producra. See Oz Producra? Right, there it is, right? These sponsors have provided the goods. That's why they're on the stickers. We're sort of saying thank you, right? For the people that don't know. Discounts at places like Every Battery at the bottom there. Say Oz Producra, you get a 10% discount. Or they'll match prices where possible, sometimes free delivery, installation, getting rid of old batteries, whatever the case may be. It's about the best customer service buying battery you can get, and genuine information once again. Any issues, let me know, because if anything changes, I want to know about it. Okay, so those sponsors are subject to change without notice. You never know. Whoever's supporting us and providing the goods for the crew, then happy days. We have prizes every now and then for our annual or biannual or whatever it is. It might be every 2 or 3 years, depends if there's any of that C19 around, but throws a spanner in the works. But what I'm saying is, it's kind of like everybody doesn't need to own a wheelbarrow or a trailer, or there's lots of tools and equipment. You know, everybody likes to have their stuff, but it's kind of a big waste of money, especially if you don't use it or you don't use it often. So there's two sides to the story. If you're new at four-wheel driving, you might need some of these, but how often do you really drive on sand? Not that often. Well, maybe you can borrow a set. Okay, why don't you get in a group of 4 mates and you buy a set between the 4 of you? You know, talk to Trevor, Dirt Road 4x4 for your MAXTRAX. I'll try and get him to do you a deal. Hey Trev, can you please do everyone a deal? Just make sure they're getting the best price in town. Thanks, mate. Now he's in Melbourne, right? In Victoria, in Werribee, Dirt Road 4x4, Trevor Ryan. All right. If you're somewhere else, you might have to go and get them somewhere else. But I'm not trying to sell you MAXTRAX, like I said. Excuse me, I actually don't need them. I've never needed them, because my simple understanding is you really need to go and watch my sand driving videos, how to drive in sand and stuff like that on this channel, and you'll learn a bit. You need to be patient. It's a windy day and I'm yakking too much, like now, a little bit like now, but I'm just going to briefly go through it again. And it's only going to take a few minutes. Now, a drink first. Right, so we can probably use the vehicle as an example. See here, we've got sand. Everybody knows sand's soft. Everybody wants to have a bit of a kick around in the sand. But what happens is with a vehicle that weighs 2 or 3 ton, maybe more, it's heavy and it packs into the, you can see the sand there, it's packed. Now we've driven back and forwards a few times. We actually backed up to just there and came forward, and you can see our tracks, right? So when we're ready to go, we're facing downhill, ready to go. So there's so many lessons that could be here, but what I want to say is, when you're driving on sand, the idea is to stay on top of the sand, because if you've got hard round tires, they're just going to dig in, you're going to bog down, and you've instantly got a hill in front of your tire, and it's really difficult for the vehicle to move forward. Then you accelerate, it digs more, because remember, we've got these aggressive tires, it digs more, and that's what's going to get you bogged. So the first thing you need to do is know that on sand, the less aggressive tires, the better. These are not the best tires for sand, no. Bald tires would be the best tires for sand, because they're sitting on the top, they're flat, The other thing to avoid is sharp turns and acceleration. Like, you know, if you want to get going, if you're parked here on a beach facing uphill, what you need to do is gently build the momentum. See, softly. You don't want to bust into that and dig in. You don't want to dig. You want to stay on top. The way to do it is to let the tyres down, okay? Letting your tyres down is key. It's the start, it's the main, and it's the end. It's the whole main course, the whole 3 courses. Tyre pressures is everything on sand. And understanding that will negate the need for these, okay? So I see, the reason I'm doing this as well is I see all these people driving around with MAXTRAX, all the gear, no idea, you know, it's usually how it goes. But like me, driving around with MAXTRAX on the road, right? But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you do need them, I'm not saying you don't need them, but if you're new to driving on sand, you could get yourself into trouble. What they'll do, this is what you got to understand. If you were driving along on this soft sand, okay, and you came to a stop because the sand was soft, then something needs to change. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere, right? So you're moving along 40 k's an hour along a beach and it gets really soft and it's the vehicle's slowing down, and you know what? As soon as that happens, if it's a soft patch for a short period, you might be able to get on the gas if you're quick enough, keep the vehicle moving, and you might not need to, you know, do anything. But chances are, if it's become softer, you may need to let the tyres down a bit more. And then what will happen is, if you stop like we have here, just come to a gentle stop. Don't wait till you're bogged. Don't power on and dig yourself into a hole, because that's where you're stuck. And you will need something like MAXTRAX. You still won't need them, but they may make the job easier, because you're going to have to dig all the sand out from in front and behind the tyres. And then you can place those, and you really need to jam them down under the tyres to use them properly. Sitting them in front close enough won't do. Okay, the tyres need to be making contact with these end lugs here so that the tyre will grip it. But as you've noticed, so if you're driving along at 40 k's and you came to a stop and you got all bogged and you dug it all out and you put these under there, you're only going to get that far and some. Now, if you spin your wheels on it, maybe less. When it grips up, you can lose them in the sand. If it's really soft, then somewhere you got to stop again to go back and get them. You stop straight away, or you're bogged again straight away. So like I said, something has to change. And that is tyre pressure. It's all about tyre pressure, right? Because you can't just take off and drive a kilometre up the beach to then and then leave your mat. You go, what are you going to leave them behind? Yeah, people have done that before. They absolutely have, right? And then you find them and you put them on the local Facebook group and you say, hey, and hopefully you give them back to the original owner and they're happy, or you sell them on eBay. Whatever you do, that's up to you, right? I think you can work out the right thing to do. Anyway, they did say, you know, possession's 9/10 and all that. Finders keepers, losers weepers. So if you leave them behind, I guess you've lost them. So you get my point? Are you getting my point? You know what I mean? You can put them down. If you don't drop your tyres, you're only going to get that far. But the point is, if you come to a nice stop like this, look, do you see a mound in front or behind my tyres? No, that's how I want to stop. I want to stop gently, so that then when I let the tyres down, they're going to flatten out on the bottom, increasing that footprint and softening up. Less chance that the tyre is going to dig into the sand, because it's lengthening it's spreading the weight of the vehicle. It's spreading the load so that it digs less. And for example, we've just let the tyres down to only 20, and you can see how we've backed up onto this sand here. It's even firmer than the sand over here. Have a look at this. This is the wet sand, right? Normally the wet sand, look here, see? Less dig there than there is over. This wet sand over here is actually quite soft, but look, it's not really soft sand. It's not too bad. We're on 20 PSI. You can go 18, 16, 14, 12, 10. You can just keep going. You, excuse me, look at the tyres, right? Look at the tyres. Are they flat on the bottom? The answer here, no. They've got plenty more to go, okay? So I hope this has helped you decide, learn a little bit about sand driving, help you decide whether you need MAXTRAX or not, or whether you borrow some off for a mate. You got one mate, you buy two each, or you already know heaps of people have got MAXTRAX. How often do you go on sand? So if you go on sand a lot, you probably don't need MAXTRAX, because you know what you're doing. If you don't go on sand a lot, then you can probably all share your MAXTRAX. So you get on a group like Oz Prado Crew, and I might even do a post saying, hey, this is the lend MAXTRAX to each other thread, and just find someone in your area, pair up with a few people, say g'day, maybe some PMs and that sort of thing. We'll get some people to reply on there and say, yeah, I'm happy to lend mine out. Obviously, if you damage them, if you lose them, if you spin your wheels and melt these lugs off, you own them. Or you can get on kaon.com.au again, and you can replace those lugs, and they're little, I think they're steel or alloy or something like that. So I'll leave it info in this video, guys. Hope you liked it. We're going to get these back up on the roof. Bonus information, sorry about the wind, but this is where you need an extra hand really. But as hard as I pull that down, I'm not getting enough clearance there to twist this. It's very difficult to twist. These are only about a year old. They've only been used once. They're not any sort of damage or bent, anything that I can see. Mark II, right? So I don't know what the problem is. Very difficult. Lucky I learnt this in testing, and I know to carry these so that I can twist that. I need another hand though. There it is. That one's on with great difficulty, but pretty easy with these. But I use one hand to squash it down like that, but it's still quite a lot of pressure because you can see it's just not, it doesn't come down. And in case you missed it in the other video, with the new MAXTRAX, this works, but with this set, it doesn't. So let's blame this set of MAXTRAX that's a year old that's been used once. So be careful if you've used them, because you may not have considered that they could be hard to get back on. They could be covered in sand, which you might not want on your roof and going down over your windscreen and in all your gutters and everything here. So just think about these things, because good mounting system, but I reckon the rear wheel might be the go if you think you're going to actually use them. Now, if you're probably not going to use them and it's like absolute emergency only, you're not really going to care about some sand or mud getting on your roof. You're going to care about the car getting sucked away by the ocean over there, right? Furthermore, you can see what's happening every time I use those, you know, grips on here, some scratches on the plastic and whatever, but no big deal. We'll chuck our rusty old lock back on and we'll wrap this one up. It is the trusty master lock. I don't know how long it's going to, it said weather resistance. I think it said good weather resistance, but I can't remember. Just spray it is the go, and just only leave it on there when you're using it. It'll be fine. This one's brand new. It hasn't been sprayed. It was all part of the R&TU. That's research and tell you about the corrosion and that, because you're going, oh, but it's copper or brass. It's, what is it? It's brass, or maybe, who knows, it could be a brass coating over some cheap Chinese whatever, right? You know how it goes, right? Anyway, there's the roller Titan tray. There's the MAXTRAX. Up to you if you want them or not. There's going to be more videos teaching you about sand driving and other driving, so subscribe, turn the bell on. It's all genuine, real information. Nobody's paid me to tell you about master locks, MAXTRAX or K-on mounts or roller Titan trays. It's just the stuff we use because we like it. It's strong, it's quality. I don't own these. I've borrowed them from a friend. I'm not going to own MAXTRAX at this point, unless, I don't know, if I'm doing some brand new sand exploring. Look, you know, the reason I carried these this time, I've been to a couple of places on this trip I haven't been before, including places on my own, so it's a bit of a backup plan, but still didn't need them because tyre pressures wins in the end. Thanks for watching. That's a bada bing, bada boom. Catch you on the next one, guys. See ya.